Morning everybody. It is the weekend. We got a busy weekend ahead of us and not a lot of time to get things done on the homestead. So I am going to be very busy this morning trying to wrap up as much as I can in terms of winterizing the gardens and preparing for next season. First things first, as many of you know, I kind of started my own salsa business this season, and after a growing season that was pretty much covered by drought, a lot of our annuals didn't do so hot. So I've made the decision, going into next year, I am only going to focus on a salsa garden. So I'm going to have tomatoes, garlic, onions, peppers, all the makings for salsa, and I'm really going to ramp up production and try and produce as much product as I can. So I'm up in the orchard here. As you can see, I built these trellises that I had peas and beans growing up. Looks like we might get some rain. That's not cool because I'm already on a time crunch. Anyway, I will not be utilizing these next year, so I'm going to rip them up and out of the orchard, get them out of here. I have quite a bit of French marigolds still doing well in the orchard. I've got some up around the trellises up through here. I'm going to leave those all in place, let them continue to grow and flourish. I've been saving the seeds from them and have quite a bit actually, so I'm pretty excited about that going into next year. You may have seen in one of our previous uploads that I actually saved the petals from the French marigolds to feed to our chickens, which has some added nutritional benefits for them, and it also makes the yolks a richer orangish color. We've had a lot of rain this fall, unlike the rest of the season, and we've had a big issue with stinkhorn mushrooms popping up throughout the areas of mulch. Actually, this is a stinkhorn egg right here. This will pop up and produce. Looks like some animal got in and ate this one. Let's see if here you go. Here's kind of a stem of a mushroom, and then there'll be a cap on the top that just reeks. It smells absolutely hideous. It's honestly one of the worst smells, in my opinion, on this homestead. I can't even deal with it, so Sarah will come out here and dig up the little eggs and dispose of them so they don't pop up and just reek. Yeah, not a fan of them. So that's why our orchard looks a little dug up here. Sarah's been going through and digging up the stinkhorns. I'm going to dig up what I can see here. Nothing is ripe right now and smells awful, so I can manage. I'll dig out what I can, and then I'm going to re-level this area, just get the mulch nice and clean looking. Okay, the stinkhorns have been removed from the orchard and everything's been regraded. Now I'm going to remove our tomato plants because they are done for the season. It's too cold now. Tomato plants have been removed. I've got 4 basil plants that I had in the middle of my tomatoes. I'm going to leave those for now. They've gone to seed, so I'd like to harvest the seed off of them, but I don't have time right now, so I'll get to those later. I did go through and rake out the mulch, even everything out, and this bed is pretty much ready to go for winter. I don't think I'm going to have to add anything to it. I might do a dusting of unfinished compost over the top of it just to give some nutrients back, but the soil's looking pretty good, and everything grew really well in this bed this year, so I'm not too worried about it. In this back bed, my daughter and I planted sweet potatoes. I'm going to wait until these die off a bit more, and then we'll go in and harvest those and see how they do. We had corn back here which didn't grow very well at all, so I pulled that out already. This bed is ready to be winterized, or ready for winter. This is our asparagus. It's still pretty green, so I'm going to let it be. Once it turns brown and dies back, I will come through and cut everything to the ground and burn all the tops to kill any overwintering bugs so we don't have an infestation next year. And this bed right here had all my peppers in it, so looks like everything's pretty much done. I don't see many new flowers. We've got a couple of ghost peppers right here, which I'm going to let finish off, get some of that green out of there, and once it turns orangish, I'll pull them off. They might be pretty much done growing though. It's getting pretty cold out now. I do have a couple of, shoot, I forget what variety they are, but they're bell peppers. I've been saving those on there to harvest seed from, so I will do that as well. So let's go through and rip all this up and get this bed ready for winter. Alright, I've got all but that one ghost pepper plant ripped out of here. Now I'm going to remove all of our pine needle mulch because this bed and some of our other main beds I'm going to be tilling in some humus and manure. Now I usually don't till my soil. I try to let it be, keep the mulch on top and just let nature do its thing. I want to hit the ground strong next year. We had kind of a rough season this year. I just want to increase my chances of having a bountiful harvest next year. So I'm going to add some more nutrients back to this, and then I'll likely throw some unfinished compost on top and then cover it with the pine needles. Well, I can't get my father-in-law's old tiller to start, so I guess we're going to be doing this the old-fashioned way. Okay, I've got the first section of this bed done. I put 2 bags of humus and manure in it, and I also took some sand that we pulled out of our kids' sandbox for winter. Added some sand to the soil. Sand is really good at holding moisture in the soil. Sand is also really good for lightening up clay soil. Though the soil in my garden bed isn't clay, if you go 6 inches below the grass line, it's just solid clay. It'll work its way down and just help everything take root really well. I'm going to work on the second part here, but I wanted to give you a little example here of before and after. So on the right side of the bed here, you can see the soil is a lot more brownish. That's the humus and manure that I added in the center there. But this is the soil that I worked over already. It's got humus and manure, sand mixed into it. Everything is tilled up really nicely. I will come back and add some unfinished compost from our compost pile back there just as a topping on it, and that compost will continue to break down and feed the soil over the winter and into the next growing season. And then I will top everything back with that pine straw, which I get from my neighbor's pine trees. Thank you, neighbor. Alright, the pepper bed is all set. It's got its blanket on for winter. Now I'm going to move over to our double X beds. As you can see behind me, these 2 beds look like 2 big X's. So if you're new to the channel, I explained it before, but it was over a year ago. When I came to this property after moving from my folks' place, I had built a couple of garden beds on their property and I wanted to bring them with me. Being a drafter, I drew out my existing garden bed layout and thought, how can I take the wood that I've already got and maximize the amount of space I have to garden in? So after a few different layouts, I ended up coming up with this design, which is 2 large X's to maximize the amount of space I can garden with the wood I already had. It's worked out really well. It looks pretty neat, and it's functional. That's the most important thing. I did add another level to the potato beds earlier this year, and I'm not really happy with it, so I'm going to take them off. But before I can do that, I have to remove the mulch again. these 3 beds here all done. I am not going to mess with that bed right now. I am running out of time, so I want to get going on this bed. Looks like I missed a few onions when I was harvesting earlier this year. Hey, would you look at that? I'm done already. I decided to spare you guys the boredom of watching me clean up another bed, but I did the same thing as these beds. I did leave this bed untouched over here, so I've got 2 beds left to do, but I am running out of time for today. I'm feeling pretty good about what I got done though. The soil actually looked really great in all of our beds. These beds have been here now for 3 or 4 years. The soil quality has really improved over those years, so I mean, this is a lot of work. I typically don't do this much work in winterizing our beds. Honestly, I pretty much just pull the plants out. Maybe I'll throw a dusting of compost over the top, and that's it. The beds pretty much take care of themselves. All the mulch on top breaks down, feeds everything. So yeah, pretty happy with how this turned out. I think I'm going to pack up and help Sarah get the kids ready. We're going to go over and celebrate my mother-in-law's birthday, and then they've got trick-or-treating going on tonight in their subdivision. And tomorrow we've got trick-or-treating here for the kiddos. I believe my next upload is going to be a big one. I'm going to share the new goodies that we purchased for the channel. So stay tuned for that. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We're really trying to get to 400 trillion subscribers by yesterday. So yeah, help us out. That's funny because there's only like 7 billion people on the planet. Hardy har har. Take care everyone. We'll catch you on the next video. Bye.